Hello. I don't know if anyone's here or not because I don't trust the number. But hello. Um, we're going to be studying chapters 8 through 10 today in 2 Samuel, or reading, looking over, whatever you want to call it. Seems like the camera's weird today. But I did move stuff everywhere, and the settings may be off, but hopefully it'll work out. But hi Carol. I know that two people won't be here today. Donna and Amy won't be here. Amy had to go. Hi Joanne and Kelly. Amy had to go do some errands, and Donna had to take Robin to the doctor, or go with Robin to the doctor, her husband. But she did send me an update whenever they got out of that doctor's office. They had to go do some more things. Also, Jeff is cleaning the kitchen, so it's kind of loud probably. Okay. All right, Carol. A bad infection in her jaw? Oh, wow. So y'all remember Carol's nieces. One has COVID and the other one has an infection in her jaw. Let me write those down. Anyway, Robin went to the doctor today and it was good. I don't know if y'all know, because I know that Donna has talked about it some, but her husband has congestive heart failure and he's been having some issues. So Janet and Rebecca, okay. And he's been having some issues, so he's been going to a doctor. He went to a new cardiologist today, which she said has a wonderful bedside manner, and he's a really good doctor. He had changed up some of his medication, and Robin had lost 20 pounds of fluid since I think it was last week, and he goes back in about 10 days to see him again, and if he doesn't lose more fluid, then they're going to do a different medication, another one too. But she said they had a really good experience with this cardiologist, and he's taking really good care of him. So that is really a good thing. And they're happy about it. And I'm happy that they found someone who actually a doctor who is taking care of him, instead of someone who's just like, oh, well, here, take this medicine, and just throws him out and next, that kind of doctor. Y'all have probably seen that kind of doctor before, where they just run you through like a factory or something. Finally finished writing that. But anyway, they had a good experience with this doctor, so that's good. And Robin's doing better, and I think she's feeling better about it. She's had a lot going on lately. One of her best friends passed away recently, and she's just had a lot going on with moving and with Robin's health and her own health and things like that. So, and then her son's friend passed away. It's been a lot on that family. So y'all keep Donna and her family in your prayers. Also, and I don't want to take away from what Carol said, her nieces, pray for Janet and Rebecca, because COVID is not anything to play with. In fact, one of my sisters, I think I talked about it a little bit. I haven't heard any new things about it, but she has lost a lot of sight in one of her eyes, because they say it's because of COVID. And I think she's had COVID 3 times, I think. 2 times, I know. But, and then Deidre Folks, who watches my videos, she had put on one of my videos in the comments that she wanted prayer. So I want y'all to remember her in your prayers whenever you are praying, of course. And I think that's all. And of course, Donna's son's friend, who had passed away, Ben Thielen, I don't know how to say his last name actually. Remember his family. He had a wife and children, and they were very young. So, and anyone else who Hi, Terry. Anyone else who has prayer requests, you can just put them in the chat, or you can send me a personal email if you don't want me to talk about it on here, or if you don't want it to be public. You're welcome to do that. Because I don't know how else to get it to me. But I'm going to go ahead and get started with, well, first I want to talk about this. I actually thought about, oh, Donna's in the car about to eat breakfast. Thanks to everyone for prayers and continued prayers. Okay, so she did make it for a little bit anyway. That's a lot. You sure you're not eating brunch? It's 3:00 where you are, isn't it? But he probably couldn't eat before his doctor's appointment, could he? But I don't know if you can or not with what he's doing. Yeah, okay. But I started to call off today because Jeff is at home. But then I decided not to because he's going to be home next week too. But next week, I may not do the Bible study. I don't know yet, but I may not, so that I can spend more time with him. If I don't, I will put it in on the community tab if I decide not to do the Bible study, or I will say it in a video. And if you want me to personally send you an email to tell you, hey, I'm not doing Bible study this week at any time, go ahead and just send me an email. My email is on my About page, and it's always in my description. But go ahead and send me an email, and I'll put you in a list, and I'll just send out a mass email to whoever wants me to say, hey, I'm not having it this date. And I'll put on there, Bible studies canceled. But as far as I know, it's not going to be canceled very often, but there are times whenever I might not be able to do it. Another thing is we're going to be starting the new study on Thursdays at 2:30 Central Time, the Bible in 52 weeks. I still have not made the video yet, but I was planning on having it out next Thursday, which will be a week before the study. But we've all talked about it for like a month. So, and I've talked about it, I think, on my regular videos. I honestly don't know what all I talk about on those because I talk about a lot. But I wanted to especially say something here. So in case y'all still wanted to get the book or something like that. Actually, they had the book in Kindle version on sale. They don't anymore. Well, it's $7.50. The paperback is still $8.99 with Amazon. And that is the cheapest price I've seen it. Unless you find it somewhere like Thrift Books or something. So, okay. We're going to go ahead and get started with these 3 chapters. What's wrong? Battery died? He's recording himself cleaning the kitchen. He's cleaning the kitchen for me. Let him see your beautiful face. He's got a hoodie on because he's cold. He's a cold. Your hand was cold. Playing in the water. Here you go.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome. Thank you. But he's cleaning the kitchen for me. He's recording himself doing it. So y'all will see that tomorrow. Because I record the one day and then y'all see it the next. Just in case y'all didn't know that. I'm not recording and showing y'all all the same day because there's no way I could do that. Not unless I stopped recording really early. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Now, these 3 chapters, I didn't feel like there was a lot to study. Like, mostly it's talking about battles and about David doing certain things. It's not a lot. It's a lot of war. But there were some things that David did that confused me. And some things that I didn't love that he did. But some things were really good. So I don't know how long this study is going to be. But let's go ahead and get started in maybe I turned my book over to my correct notes. I had it turned over to these last week's notes instead of this week's notes. I usually go over the week before, but we just know David's done a lot of stuff. Maybe I'll try to start recapping again. I've been bad about that lately. But there's just so much to recap about what David has done, which we can talk a little bit about it, I guess. We talked about how that they had tried to move the ark the wrong way, and then the ark was touched by someone, and he ended up dying. And then David pretty much pitched a kid fit and sent it somewhere else instead of where it was supposed to go. And those people were blessed. And then he went and, like a kid, took his toy back. It's not a toy, but I'm just saying that's what a child does. They're like, here, you have it, when they get mad. And then whenever they see you're having fun with it, they want to take it back, that kind of thing. But the second time that he moved it, he moved it the correct way. And we know that his wife, Michal, who was Saul's daughter, she didn't like how David was worshiping and how that he exposed himself. And some people I've heard say that he actually exposed his genital area while he was dancing. And others say that a king shouldn't be acting that way, and that's what she meant by exposing himself. I don't really know. Honestly, it doesn't matter. She was pitching a fit, and because of the way she acted, she never had children. And we talked about how David was humble whenever he was leading. So let's go on to chapter 8. After this, David defeated the Philistines, subdued them, and took Metheg-Ammah, some words in this, it's words, from Philistine control. He also defeated the Moabites, and after making them lie down on the ground, he measured them off with a cord. He measured every 2 cord lengths of those to be put to death, and 1 full length of those to be kept alive. So the Moabites became David's subjects and brought tribute. Now, I don't understand why he made them lay down on the ground, and some of them he killed and some of them he didn't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense why he did that, because making them lay down on the ground is a humiliation. Yes, they were enemies, but that's a humiliation. And then making them have to wait to see who was going to live and who was going to die, that's torture. Why did he do that? That was one of the things that bugged me that he did. Why did he choose to kill some and not the others? How did he choose the servants and the ones that would be killed? It's just weird to me. But the ones who did get to stay alive, they brought him gifts. They brought him tribute. David also defeated Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah, when he went to restore his control at the Euphrates River. David captured 1,700 horsemen and 20,000 foot soldiers from him, and he hamstrung all the horses and kept 100 chariots. Now, whenever you hamstring an animal, you are paralyzing it. Why would he paralyze the horses? Why torture those poor animals? These are the things that bug me. These are the things that stood out. I don't know why they stood out to me, but why would he do that when all he had to do was either kill them so they didn't suffer or take them as his own, but instead he paralyzed them. These horses were innocent animals. They had nothing to do with anything other than doing what their master said, So it's really weird. Why would that be in the Bible? Why would that be part of it? When the Arameans of Damascus came to assist King Hadadezer of Zobah, David struck down 20,000 Aramean men. Then he placed garrisons in Aram of Damascus, and the Arameans became David's subjects and brought tribute. The Lord made David victorious wherever he went. So, my thing is, Go fight the battle. Do what God says. If you want to take people as your servants, take people as your servants. If you want to capture people, that's fine. That's part of war. I mean, it's not fine, but it's part of war. But why is he torturing people, essentially, and why is he torturing animals? It's confused me. Because David has been so good this whole time. The word subdued is talking about 7 nations by David, 1 Philistia, verse 1, Moab, verse 2, Zobah, verse 3, Syria, verse 5, Ammon, verse 12, Amalek, NV, Edom, verse 14. What's that? What does that NV mean? But I mean, I can understand he's subdued those 7 nations and all, but I don't understand why he went to the lengths of some of the things he went to. And honestly, I don't know why it's in the Bible, other than maybe it's telling how David's character is. Because he seems like a man of good character. He seems like a good person, but then he does something like that makes me wonder. But then again, people with good character can make mistakes. They can hurt people. They can do things they shouldn't, but I don't know. I don't know why it bothered me. No verse reference. Oh, okay. I don't know why it bothered me that he did these things, or why it stood out, but it did. And I guess the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I'm wondering if it stood out to y'all. I wonder if it bothered y'all, something like that. We'll go on to verse 7. David took the gold shields of Hadadezer's officers and brought them to Jerusalem. King David also took huge quantities of bronze from Betah and Barathai, Hadadezer's cities. So let's see. The verse 14, that's way over there. Okay. So you're getting ahead of me? Is that what's happening, Carol? When King Toi of Hamath heard that David had defeated the entire army of Hadadezer, he sent his son Joram to King David to greet him and to congratulate him because David had fought against Hadadezer and defeated him, for Toi and Hadadezer had fought many wars. Joram had items of silver, gold, and bronze with him. King David also dedicated these to the Lord, along with silver and gold he had dedicated from all the nations he had subdued, from Edom, Moab, the Ammonites, the Philistines, the Amalekites, and the spoil of Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah. David made a reputation for himself when he returned from striking down 18,000 Edomites in Salt Valley. He placed garrisons throughout Edom, and all the Edomites were subject to David. The Lord made David victorious wherever he went. So David reigned over all Israel, administering justice and righteousness for all his people. Joab, son of Zeruiah, was over the army. Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, I'm saying that wrong, was court historian. Zadok, son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech, son of Abiathar, were priests. Seraiah, I don't know how to say some of these words, so I may be getting them all wrong, these names, was court secretary. Benaniah, son of Jehoiada, I don't know how to say it, was over the Cherethites and the Pelethites, and David's sons were chief officials. No? What? I don't know what you're talking about, Carol. I'm confused. Maybe because I said you're getting ahead of me? I don't know. But I was just joking about that. I don't care if y'all do get ahead of me because I'll catch up. But the chapter 8 is pretty much just talking about his different battles and the people he subdued and the people he had fought against for the Israelites. And every time that he fought against them, he would do something that he was supposed to do. He would, I'm sure, because of other things he said, he would make tributes to the Lord, and he would do things that he was supposed to do. But it does bother me that he did this. I was just giving you the word subdued and giving you some references about it, and no, I wasn't trying to get. No, I know that. I know you weren't, Carol. I know you weren't trying to get ahead, because then that would just confuse all of us, especially me. But no, I know that. I was just joking with you. I hope you didn't think I was like not joking, because I was. But David was expanding his kingdom. He was making his kingdom larger by subduing all the people who were against God and against God's people. He was fighting the wars that should have been fought, probably whenever Saul was around, but Saul wasn't doing that. He was more focused on getting rid of David. That's what Saul's focus seemed to be. Instead of taking care of his people, and taking care of God's people, he was taking care of his own. He was taking care of his own. What's the word? His own battles, his own evil thoughts, or the things in his mind. He wasn't thinking about his people. He was only concerned with self. And David did do some things that are confusing to me. And the reason why I brought those things up is because I didn't know if they were confusing to y'all. I didn't know if they bothered y'all, but it was like, why make them lay on the ground and measure them out and then say, okay, you die, you don't. Okay, you die, you don't. Why cripple the horses? Why not use those horses? Because if you think about it, horses in a kingdom, if a king owned the horses, they're probably pretty good breed, good stock there, and pretty strong horses, most likely, unless the king just doesn't know what he's doing. They're most likely beautiful animals. Why would he cripple them? Because he had taken over the kingdom. Why would he? It doesn't make sense to me. And I don't know if it matters. But for some reason it mattered to me. So chapter 8 is pretty much about him subduing different places, different people. And then he sets up who the people are over his court. The Joab, son of Zeruiah, was over the army, and then Jehoshaphat was the historian, the court historian, and then Zadok was Zadok and Ahimelech were priests. I got confused. I want to say Seraiah was a court secretary. Benaniah was over the Cherethites and the Pelethites. And David's sons were the chief officials. And y'all know David got a lot of children. He got a lot of wives. He's got a lot of children. So his sons were already old enough to be over other people. They were chief officials, which makes me wonder, though, still, because, there's kings who became kings before they were even adults. So anyway, I'm going to go on to chapter 9. But there were some things in that chapter that kind of confused me. But it is talking about his victories. And I do believe that David celebrated his victories and he gave God the honor for it. And I think that's what we should do. So let's go on to chapter 9. David asked, is there anyone remaining from the family of Saul I can show kindness to for Jonathan's sake? There was a servant of Saul's family named Ziba. They summoned him to David, and the king said to him, are you Ziba? I am your servant, he replied. So the king asked, is there anyone left of Saul's family that I can show the kindness of God to? Ziba said to the king, there is still Jonathan's son who was injured in both feet. The king asked him, where is he? Ziba answered the king, you'll find him in Lodabar at the house of Machir. I think that's how you say it. I may be wrong. Son of Amiel. So King David had him brought from the house of Machir or is it Macher? I don't know which way you're supposed to say it. Son of Amiel, or Amiel, I don't know that either, in Lodabar. Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, son of Saul, came to King David. Came to David. Okay, let's start that again. Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, son of Saul, came to David, fell face down, and paid homage. David said, Mephibosheth, I am your servant, he replied. Don't be afraid, David said to him, since I intend to show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all your grandfather Saul's fields, and you will always eat meals at my table. Mephibosheth paid homage and said, What is your servant that you take an interest in a dead dog like me? Then the king summoned Saul's attendant, Ziba, and said to him, I have given to your master's grandson all that belonged to Saul and his family. You, your sons, and your servants are to work the ground for him, and you are to bring in crops so your master's grandson will have food to eat. But Mephibosheth, your master's grandson, is always to eat at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Ziba said to the king, Your servant will do all my lord the king commands. So Mephibosheth ate at David's table just like one of the king's sons. Mephibosheth had a young son whose name was Micah. All those living in Ziba's house were Mephibosheth's servants. However, Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem because he always ate at the king's table. His feet had been injured, which other one says he was crippled, other Bibles. But this is, I think, David's way of, well, I know it's David's way of honoring Jonathan. Jonathan was his good friend. Jonathan was someone he cared for and looked at like a brother. And so he wanted to know, was there anyone left of Saul's family? Because I honestly don't think that David wanted to hurt Saul ever. I feel like I have a hair right on my eyeball. I don't think he wanted to hurt Saul, even though Saul wanted to kill him. He wasn't out for revenge. He wasn't vengeful. He wanted to honor Saul's memory. And he was saddened by Saul's death. He wasn't happy about it. So he wanted to find out if there was anyone who was in his lineage. So whenever he found out that Mephibosheth was alive, he put him in a place of importance. He put him in a place like his own sons. So he took care of him. He gave him all of Saul's properties. And I don't believe, I believe that was any of the properties that Saul had before he became king. I wouldn't know for sure, but I would think that. He gave him his properties, and he put people in charge of taking care of these things. And he always, whenever a king says you eat at my table, it's not just eating their meals at the table with him. It's, you're going to be cared for. You're going to be taken care of. You don't have any clothing needs. You don't have any food needs. You don't have any needs that are not going to be met. So to honor Jonathan, he is honoring Mephibosheth. And to honor even Saul, he is doing this. Because I feel like the reason why this is in here is to show that David's character is good and loving, and he's restoring things that should never have been taken away, is what I think. Which, in the natural order of things, if the government doesn't take it away, which is kind of what happened on accident, I guess you could say. It didn't really happen on purpose. But an ancestor, or not ancestor, but what is it called? Oh my goodness, I know, but it can't come out. But a relative, the next in line, would get that person's belongings, their home, their Jeff, what is the word?
What?
Estate. Is that it? whenever someone dies and you get inheritance, that's the word. See, he has words. They would have gotten the inheritance. I don't even know if he can hear me. I had to yell a little bit. Can you even hear me? Yeah. Oh, he can hear me. Somewhat he can hear me. Okay, so Mephibosheth would have naturally gotten the inheritance, is what I was trying to say. But because of everything the way it happened, with Saul's death, with Jonathan's death, with them not even knowing he was around, somebody knew, but with him not being like front and center, then he didn't get it. But he was, I mean, he was living somewhere. He was taken care of, and he had a child. So he would have been married, I'm sure. So his whole family probably ended up in the kingdom. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to go on to chapter 10. Like I said in the beginning, this is not like these chapters, there's not a lot of study to them, it seems like to me. It's more like just a story, just so you can understand what was going on at the time. That's the way it feels to me. Like there's not a much to dig and to learn from it. Even, I mean, there is, and there's a reason why it's here, but for doing like Bible study, it's kind of, I don't know. Anyway, let's go on. Sometime later, the king of the Ammonites died, and his son Hanun became king in his place. Then David said, I'll show kindness to Hanun, son of Nahash, just as his father showed kindness to me. So David sent his emissaries to console Hanun concerning his father. However, when they arrived in the land of the Ammonites, the Ammonite leaders said to Hanun, their lord, just because David has sent men with condolences for you, do you really believe he's showing respect for your father? Instead, hasn't David sent his emissaries in order to scout out the city, spy on it, and demolish it? So Hanun took David's emissaries, shaved off half their beards, cut their clothes in half at the hips, and sent them away. Okay, so David is trying to do a good thing because he was he was friendly with this guy's father. So he's trying to respect the dead. He's trying to do that. But again, just like before, whenever, I didn't know what that noise was. Just like when people were whispering in Saul's ear saying, well, are you sure David's doing that? Do you think he's really doing that for that reason? Are you sure he's not trying to do this? So people are whispering in his ear. Well, now people are whispering in Hanun's ear saying, you sure he's not coming to take over? You sure? I mean, if David wanted to take over, there's proof in chapter 8 he could have taken over. He was an ally with this other person. He wasn't trying to take over. So, and from what I understand, a man's beard in this time, in this culture, was very important. And if you shave off half a man's beard, that's like you shave off this half, then there's visible disrespect. If you rip their clothes and you show their behind, because it says, where was it at? Cut their clothes in half to the hips. I mean, you're showing their nether region. That's disrespectful. That's causing them to be exposed in ways that would never have happened. So these men are shamed for trying to do good, which has happened to me before. Not the same thing, of course, but I've been shamed for trying to do good before because people take it the wrong way. And that's what they did. They took David's offering the wrong way, and these men are paying for it. So, where was it at now? When this was reported to David, he sent someone to meet them, since they were deeply humiliated. The king said, "Stay in Jericho until your beards grow back, then return." So he's saying, stay there. Don't come back home yet. I'm telling you, don't come back home. So he's giving them permission, which they would probably have to have from the king, to stay. Let their beards grow back. Let their shame go away. When the Ammonites realized they had become repulsive to David, they hired 20,000 foot soldiers from the Arameans of Beth Rehob and Zobah, 1,000 men from the king of Makkah, and 12,000 men from Tob. I don't know. I should have added this up, but I didn't. Let's see. There's 20,000 from one, 1,000 from another, and I didn't do that right. There's 33,000. I did it better without a calculator. 33,000 men. I think I did that right. No, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, these people didn't even have enough soldiers to fight against David. So they went and hired from 3 other tribes because they were scared. They realized that they had really crossed David and they had messed up. And so they go hire other people. So they started a fight that they couldn't even fight alone. They started a war or a battle that they couldn't win, or a war. Yeah. David heard about it and sent Joab and all of the elite troops. The Ammonites marched out and lined up in battle formation at the entrance to the city gate, while the Arameans of Zobah and Rehob and the men of Tob and Makkah were in the field by themselves. When Joab saw that there was a battle line in front of him and another behind him, he chose some of Israel's finest young men and lined up in formation to engage the Arameans. He placed the rest of the forces under the command of his brother Abishai. They lined up in formation to engage the Ammonites. "If the Arameans were too strong for me," Joab said, "then you will be my help. However, if the Ammonites are too strong for you, I'll come help you. Be strong. Let's prove ourselves strong for our people." Can you turn? Maybe? Yes. "And for the cities of God, may the Lord's will be done." So they're in formation. They're gonna, they're fixing to fight, and they're saying, "Hey, if they're too strong for you, I'll come help. If they're too strong for me, you come help me. We're not gonna leave each other alone. We're not gonna abandon each other. We're not just gonna sit there and say, 'Oh, look, he's fighting. He's losing. I'm just gonna sit here and watch.'" He's saying, "We'll come help each other." Joab and his troops advanced to fight against the Arameans, and they fled before him. When the Ammonites saw that the Arameans had fled, they too fled before Abishai and entered the city. So Joab withdrew from the attack against the Ammonites and went to Jerusalem. When the Arameans saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they regrouped. Hadadezer sent messengers to bring the Arameans who were beyond the Euphrates River, and they came to Helam with Shobach, commander of Hadadezer's army, leading them. When this was reported to David, he gathered all Israel, crossed the Jordan, and went to Helam. When the Arameans lined up to engage David in battle and fought against him, then the Arameans lined up to engage David in battle and fought against him. But the Arameans fled before Israel, and David killed 700 of their charioteers and 40,000 foot soldiers. He also struck down Shobach, commander of their army, who died there. When all the kings who were Hadadezer's subjects saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they made peace with Israel and became their subjects. After this, the Arameans were afraid to ever help the Ammonites again. So, these people who had disrespected God's people wanted to fight against them because they found out, "Oh, we've messed up. And then David comes in with his groups and he defeats them. Now all of them are under subject, or they're subjects of David's. Before they were allies. Before they were friends. They were probably communities that would help each other. Now, instead, they're subjects. They don't have their own nation anymore. They don't have their own kingdom. They now have to bow to David's kingdom. So, what I learned from this one is don't listen to everything you hear when someone's saying something. Make sure you find out all the facts before you start jumping into a fight. Because a lot of times in my life, I've listened to other people and it caused me problems. And I learned a long time ago, don't listen to other people because they don't know what they're talking about most of the time. Don't even listen to me most of the time. Unless you go and you find out if the facts are true, which I'm not going around gossiping. And actually, that's what these people were doing. They were gossiping about David, saying he's coming to do this, this, and this. And, throughout my life, there's been a lot of times that people say, oh, well, she's not going to be doing that. She's trying to be your friend because she just wants to use your stuff, or she just wants you to help her, or she just, that kind of thing. Or she's not truly your friend. She's just trying to hang around with you because of people or whatever, that kind of thing. That didn't exactly happen, but I'm just saying that's what happens. People will whisper in your ear things that are not true so that you go and mess up. Well, that's what these people did, and David defeated them, and now they're servants instead of having their own kingdom. And then, like, Satan will come in and he'll whisper things to you that are not true, that are not true, that the Bible proves are not true. But sometimes we believe those untruths, and it'll cause us heartache, it'll cause us pain, it'll cause us arguments, fights, all kinds of things. Because if we listen, it'll cause those things. But that's because Satan is there to destroy you. He's there to steal, kill, and destroy. That's his motive. That's his MO. Or as I said the other day, I said modus operandi or operandi, however you say it. And Jeff and Noah were like, through what? They'd always heard MO. They didn't even know what it stood for. They just always heard MO because the military thing, and they heard that. But that's his job. That's what his mission is to tell us lies and to cause us to fight against things we shouldn't be fighting against, or to fight for things that we shouldn't be fighting for. And if we listen to him, we're going to be slaves to a kingdom that we don't want to be, instead of living in the kingdom that we should be, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm talking, I guess metaphors is what I'm using, but we need to be careful who we listen to. We need to be careful which ones of our thoughts we listen to, because these people messed up. This wasn't just one nation that ended up in the mess. There were several, because they followed this other nation. And now they're all subjects to David, which didn't have to happen. And I think that's pretty much all from it all started with disrespect. Well, no, it started with little words that shouldn't have been said. Then it ended up in disrespect, and then it ended up in full-blown fight. And another thing that I get from this is Satan can't go against God's people and win. He just can't. He's already lost. We already know that. But whenever we are confident in what what this right here says, when we're listening to it, when we are praying and seeking God's face, we will know most of the time when it's the enemy talking. Like, there are so many times now that I have the discernment to know, okay, that's not real. That's the enemy trying to talk, and I can speak back to that and say, get out of my face, get away from me. We can rebuke the devil and he will flee. And there's times whenever there's thoughts come to my mind that I can say, that's not real. It's not real. It's not a true thing. So, and whenever people say things, I can tell if they're just saying it to say it or if it's real a lot of times. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say other than that. That's all I can explain. I don't know. But you have to be careful. We all have to be careful of what we're listening to, who we're listening to. Because this man who saw his father in allegiance with David, he saw that. He had to have. He knew that him and his dad, that David and his dad were on good terms, but he still listened to these subjects. People who really should have been subject to him, or, should have been listening to him instead of him listening to them. He listened to him and he messed up. And he lost the whole kingdom. So, anyway, I guess that's all I have for that. I don't even know if it made sense. I really don't know if any of this made sense today. Maybe I should have canceled today because I don't feel like I did good. But it doesn't matter, though, because it would have been the same next time, because all three of these chapters, I feel like they were just something to help us understand David's character. I feel like they were something to help us understand something we're going to read later and to understand what's going on. Because, as I've said before, I read the whole Bible. And I don't feel like I know that some people say, well, you can read the Bible and you get something from every bit of it. And you do. But sometimes you don't get it immediately. Sometimes it's later, if that makes sense. Sometimes it helps you understand something that happens later in the Bible. But anyway, next week, do we want to do 2 chapters? I think we need to do 2 chapters. 2 chapters. And if for some reason I'm not going to be doing the study, I will put it on my community tab. And like I said, if you want me to send you a specific email, just send me one and say, hey, I want you to send me a personal email. Or it won't be personal exactly because I'll be sending a mass one to everyone, but I promise I won't share your email addresses. But it'll be like a copy-paste kind of thing. I won't share your email addresses with anyone else unless you tell me to. You have to personally tell me to, though. But we'll do 11 and 12 next week. Because I think those two, I don't know. They have a lot in them. I feel like, I don't know. 2 chapters sounds good. Okay. But we'll do that. And also we have just, let's see, how many more weeks? Just a little over 2 weeks. No. Yeah. Well, no, it's not. I don't know. How do you tell time? So Thursday will be 2 weeks to the day we start the new study. So yeah, you got a little less than 2 weeks to get your book and start reading. And this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell y'all this in the thing too. And I do have this if you guys want this. And it's the schedule of the next study. So for, let's see, January 5th, we'll be reading, really you'll be reading 6 days. I've got to figure out the best. That's one reason why I was going to do the video. I was going to try to tell y'all how that you might want to start reading it so you can be on the Thursday caught up with what we're doing. I'm wondering if Thursday was the best day. I don't know if maybe we should start reading. It would help if I was on the right one, but it doesn't matter. They're the same anyways. It's like we might want to start reading on the 26th of December so that on the 5th of January, we're ready for the first week of study. But I don't know if that's how we need to do it or if we need to just on the first week of study, we talk about the first 4 days or 5 days of reading. And then on the next week of study, we'll talk about the 6th, 7th, and blah, 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 and all that stuff. I don't know the best way to do this since we are not doing it. Like if we were doing a Sunday study, we could study the whole week. And I didn't think about this until like the other day because we'll be doing the study on a Thursday. We'll start on the 5th. Well, we'll only be on day 5 of the reading. We won't even be finished with all the reading. So should we start reading on the 26th of December, even though it's a January study? I don't know. Y'all let me know. Maybe I need to go ahead and make that video. Okay, 2 chapters sounds good. Okay. So we definitely need to have the first lesson read before the 5th. Yeah, because see, well, what it is daily you're going to be reading. Day 1 is Genesis 1 through 4, and then day 2 is Genesis 5 through 8. We're just reading the chapters, and there are little questions in the books, and there's both the books, which are not that big of a deal. You're still reading the same chapters for both books. Which I'm wondering, why did we choose to do both books? It doesn't matter. We're doing it now. But should we start reading on December 26th? That way, on January 5th, we're caught up. Or do we want to go ahead and on the 5th, talk about day 1 through 5. That way we'll be in the order of what it was supposed to be everyday reading. The 26th. So be ready for the January lesson. Yeah. I mean, we would be starting a week early is all we would be doing. Okay. Let me write myself a note. Because I didn't even think about that until the other day, even though we've been talking about it for what, a month? Okay, start. That means you have even less time to get your book if you haven't gotten it yet. But with this thing that I made, you don't have to have the book. We can just talk about the questions whenever the days come. And I have a link to this in one of my videos. I'll put it in this one too. Let's see. Start on 26th of December to be ready for January 5th. Okay. I'm on board with that plan. Okay. So we'll start next Monday. The day after Christmas, we will start our new study, but we won't be talking about it until the 5th, which is one of my nephew's birthday. I say one of my nephews because I have a bajillion. There's 30-something grandkids and great-grandkids. So many. But anyway, I didn't think about that until the other day. And I haven't talked to y'all about it because I haven't talked to y'all on a Bible study since I thought about it. So what I'm going to do, I need to go ahead and get this recorded for this week. So Thursday, y'all will probably get a bonus video. I will record it probably either today or tomorrow. probably best to record it today while my brain is fresh on it. So, and I did go ahead and get me the paper book because they had it on Thrift Books. And I also gave Stacy one. So she's going to be doing it with us. I don't know if she's going to join us with the lives, but Stacy from Fat Man and Big Mama, I gave her one. They've been going through some rough stuff lately. Just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas this year. May God bless each and every one of you. Merry Christmas, Carol. I hope that everybody does have a really good Christmas. I know it's hard for a lot of us, but I think that God's going to take care of it all. We may not see it quickly, but we will see it one day. One day we'll see, and we'll look back and we'll think, that's what I was praying for. So, all right. So next week, yeah, I wasn't going to get the paper book because I have it on Kindle, but it was a really good price. And I don't know, I just wanted the paper book so I could sit here and talk to y'all without looking at a device. Because I know that I could look at it on the screen, but for whatever reason, like if I go away from the screen I'm on right now, no, it's not for whatever reason. I know the reason. When I go away from the screen I'm on right now, I can't see what y'all are saying. I can't see anything y'all say. So I'm not talking to y'all. I'm just talking, you know? But if I am on this screen with y'all, I know what's going on. And yes, I can pop out this screen. I've tried it before. It makes me so confused. It's a mess. It's because it'll hide somewhere else under everything else. I mean, it's just crazy. Let's see. One of my books is a spiral book. Cost me get a paperback book, the workbook. But I got both books. Yeah, the spiral ones are more expensive. I wanted the spiral one because then you can just fold it back like this. You can fold it back. It takes up less space. Let me tell y'all something. Whenever we start this study, I'm going to have my little table over here. It's going to be up. It's definitely going to be up because there's too many things. There's this one, and then there's this one, and then I'm going to want a Bible, and then I've got my little notebook. There's just too many things. So I'm going to definitely, and I didn't buy this recently. I bought it like over a year ago, but I was like, oh, I'm going to use that for our new study because I took it out. It's just a little notebook. It's just like notebook paper. Well, it's dot grid, whatever. But I brought it out because I can refill the pages and I'll have the whole year in here. But anyway, I'm excited, y'all. But I do need to get this video recorded so I know that y'all know that we all are on the same page. And if anyone gets behind, that's okay. Before we, and I'm going to probably say this during the video, but if y'all get behind, it's all right because it's a lot of reading. And I know we have normal lives. If y'all get behind, don't stop. Please just don't quit. Because I know there's been a lot of times where I was doing something like this, where there was a lot of reading required, and I got behind, so I just quit. That's not helping me. That was a disservice to me. But instead of quitting, just do this. Take your phone or your Alexa device or your Google device or your computer or whatever, and just listen to the scripture just listen to it while you're doing your chores. You don't have to sit down and read it all. I forgot you have to have your commentaries and your dictionary and a notebook to take notes for whatever. Oh yeah, I'll also be I'm still going to do like prayer requests. I'm still going to talk about the prayers. My little notebook, my prayer notebook's going to pop out every time we have a Bible study because some of y'all, I need to keep notes of who asked me. That way I can sit there and I can read that out to y'all. And then on my daily prayer time, I can read it out because I want to be able to read. I want to remember. That's what I'm trying to say. Not read. I don't have to read it, but I want to remember everybody who asked me to pray for them. I don't want to forget y'all. I don't, because then I'd feel guilty. Even because if I tell you I'm gonna pray for you, I'm gonna do it. But y'all, I have so many commentaries and all these things. We may not have to pull out all that stuff. But yeah, I gotta have space. But what was I saying? Oh, don't quit just because you get behind, because you can always catch up. And it does not matter if you're listening to it or if you're reading it. You're still absorbing God's word. I feel like that. It's just I don't feel like we're doing wrong by listening to it. So I may be having my headphones on at times. I may be working in. Y'all might see me on videos whenever I'm cleaning. Y'all see this on my head. That's not right. That's not the way you're supposed to wear it. But y'all see this on my head when I'm doing dishes. I'm probably listening to something. Well, it might be, if y'all see it a lot in the next year, because I'm listening to the Bible so I can make sure I know it all. Not that I'm not going to read it too, but I don't know. I used to, up until a couple years ago. I have a stereo over there. It used to be, it was a little boom box. It used to be in my bedroom. And 24/7, there was a DVD, not DVD, a CD playing the Bible over and over. Me and Jeff, we would change it out to different, like, because it has different books on different ones. We were playing it constantly in a loop. It was never stopped. It never stopped. 24/7, it never stopped. If the electricity went off, we would know it because that would quit. We'd have to go turn it back on. We never stopped having the Bible playing in the background in our house. I don't know why we stopped doing it, but I think we need to start back. But anyway, I'm going to make a video. We still have time to get the book. They have it on Walmart.com, Thrift Books. They have it Amazon. I think Abe Books. I've never bought anything from them, but I think that was one I saw. Christianbook.com. I don't know where else. They probably have it on the Google Play Store if you want it on digital. I don't know if Nooks are still a thing. Are those still a thing like the Kindles are? You can get this lots of places, but you don't necessarily have to have this book. Why am I saying all this whenever I'm going to say it in the video? I don't know. I guess because y'all are here and I like talking to you. But the only difference in this book is it does have a little bit of things that they say, but then it's just got questions, like points to ponder. That's what the difference is. I forgot you got to have your, I already read that. For some reason it did a flash. I thought you said something else. But anyway, I'm going to let y'all go because I got chores to do. I'm doing some things for getting ready for the Eat at Home challenge next month. And if y'all didn't see me talking about that, I'll be talking about it in tomorrow's video. Y'all see me talking about it then. But next week, if for some reason I call off, like I cancel the study, we will pick back up on the 3rd with 2 Samuel. But right now, I'm still planning on doing it, chapters 11 and 12. But if I don't, I will let you know on the community tab. But for now, I'm going to go. I need to go record some videos. And I will see y'all later. Thank y'all for hanging out with me today. I hope that y'all got something from this because I feel like today's was just like a read along. Let's learn a little bit so we can learn a lot later. That's what I feel like. But it was still good to learn something. And I still am confused about why he hamstrung those poor horses. I didn't even know what hamstringing a horse was. I had to look it up. And I thought, why? Why would you do that? It was awful. Anyway, David did some confusing things, but y'all know he's going to do some more confusing things. If you read the Bible at all, if you heard any Bible stories at all about David, you know he did some confusing. He made mistakes. We all do. But anyway, I will see you guys in tonight's video if you were there. I hope you did enjoy this or got something from it. And I will be doing a video to get, because I've got to get it out before the 26th if I'm going to do it. If we're going to start reading on the 26th. So I'll see y'all later. Thank you for hanging out with me today. And remember, don't take any wooden nickels and be sweet.